This is just the beginning.
Hello, and welcome to all of our audiences around the world tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and on the Axios website. I'm Sarah Fisher. I'm coming to you from my apartment in Washington, D.C. This is our 5th virtual event, the Pandemic Pivot Small Business Recovery. This is the 5th event of a 6-part series where we focus on the small businesses that are trying to recover from the pandemic and what tools they're using to help them get there. Last week, we heard from the Colorado governor as well as a small business owner in Denver about what they're doing. And this week, we are heading virtually to hear from different small business owners as well as Nevada Senator Jacky Rosen about their path to recovery and what digital tools they're using to get there. I want to thank our partner Facebook for making this event happen. I know small business is a huge part of what they do. And for the latest, please be sure to use the hashtag Axios Events and follow us on Twitter at Axios. For the latest news, sign up for all of our newsletters at signup.axios.com. And with that, let's get to our first interview. Senator Jacky Rosen of Nevada, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today. I'm in Washington too, and it is like the rest of the country, hot and steamy.
Yes, well, we don't have that dry climate like you do in Nevada. I'm really excited to speak with you because I know that you are the only member of the Nevada delegation that sits on the U.S. Congressional Small Business Committee. So you have a particularly good insight into how small businesses are dealing with this pandemic. What would you make of recovery right now in your home state of Nevada? How are small businesses doing?
Well, I'll tell you, really appreciate the question. In Nevada, over 99% of our businesses are small businesses. People think of us maybe as the Las Vegas Strip, Lake Tahoe and Reno, but really that's just a small percentage. And so we really have to be sure that we're supporting them. And Nevada, unfortunately, is predicted to be one of the hardest hit states in the country, and Las Vegas possibly the hardest hit metropolitan area in the country from the pandemic due to our heavy reliance on tourism and hospitality. So our unemployment rate, I believe, is still one of the highest in the nation. It's gone down a little bit, but as we navigate through opening and closing, that's going to bound to change as well. So we have to do everything we can to shore up the help for those small businesses, those moms and pops, especially our minority businesses, women, veterans, rural, the unbanked and underbanked, really matters in my state.
And I know you've been doing a lot of work with Secretary Mnuchin to try to figure out how we can provide more aid to some of those small businesses. Can you walk us through what you've been doing?
Well, Nevada and I think more than 20 states have gaming in some form or fashion. So with Secretary Jovita Carranza, who I have a good relationship with, and Administrator Carranza and Secretary Mnuchin, one of the first things we did was lead the delegation removing an arbitrary rule that had been in place since the 1990s that restricted small gaming businesses from getting any access to SBA loans. That was hurting Nevada businesses. We got that removed. We were able to allow those businesses, our bars, our taverns, our convenience stores, restaurants up and down the state, to be able to have access to the funds they need to stay open. So that was one of the first things we've done. The second thing we did, out of many, is that question them in committee. There's arbitrary caps on the idle advance, those $10,000. They weren't meant to be capped at $1,000 per employee. They were meant to be a full $10,000. And then, of course, the idle loans as well weren't meant to be capped. I'm on a bipartisan bill with Senator Cornyn to remove those arbitrary caps and give the small businesses the capital that they need to navigate through the pandemic.
Fascinating. So much of the work you're doing is just making sure that small businesses can have access to capital the same way that regular large businesses or specialized businesses can also have access to that capital. You have done something really unique. You set up a portal to help small businesses get access to some of this money and get resources, and you set it up both in Spanish and in English. Can you talk to us about that portal and how you're using digital to help connect with small businesses and get them the relief that they really desperately need right now?
Well, the first thing we knew, like I said, was 99% of businesses being small businesses in Nevada, over 30% of our population, Spanish-speaking, Hispanic. In Nevada, we had to get it out there in Spanish and in English with all the frequently asked questions, all the information and links. We did it as quickly as we could. Other parts of our website actually are in 6 different languages. We have Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai, and Tagalog, as well as English and Spanish. We're trying to open it up to diverse communities. We have the fastest growing AAPI population, one of them in the nation. One of the other things that we did was work hand in glove with Joe Amato. He's our SBA state director. He's done more than 100 webinars. I've been with small businesses up and down the state. I've been on probably about a dozen or so, maybe more with him. We've convened every chamber. We have about 20 chambers of commerce across Nevada to be sure that their membership knows what's going on, how they can get the resources. My office ourselves have helped over 800 small businesses who've called us or written us emails. I get about 8,000 emails a week. We're just going through them as quickly as we can. So we're a large state in size, but small in population, about 3 million. So we're able to know each other, work together. And that's what's going to make the success, getting the word out to everyone. The smallest businesses, even those sole proprietors, need to know that they can get these funds.
So how are you getting that word out? Are you publicizing it on social media? Are you sending letters? I imagine some of these small businesses are tiny and they have PO boxes. They're not necessarily super accessible. So how are you making sure that they know that this portal exists and that some of the relief measures you've taken, extending PPP, things like that, are available to them?
Well, we're using every tool in the toolbox. I think I'm the only former computer programmer to be in the United States Senate, so tech is not foreign to me. And so we've been using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're using our website. Like I said, every single chamber of commerce, we're using them to put it out to their email addresses. I've been on the phone with every mayor, I believe, in Nevada, all of our county commissioners, every single way that I can get information out. Of course, we've been luckily on local news, just radio, everywhere we can. La Pulga, I've been on Spanish language media as well. Some of my staff's native Spanish speakers, and so they're able to really go on programs for quite a long time, answer some questions, and give very good information. I've been on a little bit, and we're just using every tool in the toolbox to be sure that people know.
That's so important, especially because at this time, there's so much information coming at them. I think they just are looking for one source of information that's trustworthy. Can you walk me through how a lot of these businesses, small businesses that rely on in-person tourism, are actually pivoting to more virtual tourism or virtual businesses, because they can't exactly host people indoors at places like casinos and restaurants, et cetera?
Well, our casinos have been open up, and I'll tell you that Nevada, one thing that we know how to do is create an experience. And so I've been talking with lots of our casino operators, designers, and the folks that they have working with them. They've been designing this very cool kind of plexiglass that might go between slot machines or be used in restaurants that enhance the experience and don't detract from it. I think that some of those things may be exported to hospitality across the nation. But I can tell you that some of our other businesses have been moving. We have a company that makes liquor out in the Las Vegas area, Henderson area. Now they're making hand sanitizers. I just saw on the internet a local restaurant, a Spanish tapas restaurant, is offering YouTube videos. You can go buy the box of ingredients and then bring them home, pick them up curbside if you're able, and then bring them home, and you can sign on with everyone for a Zoom cooking class. So these are ways to keep some of our small businesses open that might get tourism, traffic, or local, even local traffic, because if people aren't going to work at their job in the casinos, then they don't have money maybe to spend in other areas. So these are ways that they're innovating, getting out to people. We can support our small businesses in our communities, have a little bit of fun doing it. They're modifying, they're innovating, and I think Las Vegas is going to create some of the experiences in hospitality that we'll be using for quite a while to come.
Yeah, I agree with that. The digital visibility for these small businesses is crucial. We have just a minute left. And so I just wanted to ask overall, what's next for the small businesses in Nevada? I know you've extended PPP loans through early August. What else can they expect?
Well, like I said, Senator Cornyn and I are on that bipartisan bill we just introduced to be sure that the full amount of the EIDL advance loan gets to them, and that the EIDL program overall is fully capitalized, and that we set apart buckets or tranches, if you will, that will go to our minority businesses, women, veterans, our rural communities. Like I said, those that are underserved or unbanked because they've been sole proprietors or very small businesses in some of our areas and they haven't needed a big bank relationship, we can't leave them out of the equation. I'm hoping that in the next CARES package, there's going to be more money to capitalize that, as well as funding for those state and local municipalities that have suffered so much, that also do support our local businesses as well. So we just need another package. We've got to be mindful of what's going on and how we support people as we navigate through this pandemic. Science should be our guide. Science will save us. Good science takes time, and we have to be sure that we support the ones we love in our communities on the way to that, those therapies and a vaccine.
Senator Rosen, thank you so much for joining us today. The state of Nevada is so lucky to have you and to be focusing on digital and small businesses. We appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And up next, we have a quick video from our partner Facebook, but afterwards, stay tuned for my interview with Jen Earle, the CEO of the National Association of Women Business Owners.
People everywhere should have an equal chance to connect with what matters, to share a new idea, to start or grow a business. It doesn't matter who they are, where they live, or what they believe. The way we see it, opportunity is for everyone. The chance to create a movement, to find or build a community, or to learn something new. This belief is why we look to help people boost their possibilities with skills that will help them succeed in a world that's busy changing every day. Tools designed to help keep their businesses humming and their communities strong. And knowledge that will help them put the best face on their business or idea. After all, we believe in supporting people everywhere who have the ambition to turn ideas into something bigger, better, and greater.
And we're now joined by Jen Earle, the CEO of the National Association of Women Business Owners. Jen, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
So I want to just get started by asking, what does your association exactly do? Where are you based, and what are you focusing on?
Awesome question. So the National Association of Women Business Owners is based in Washington, D.C. It started as an advocacy organization 45 years ago. We're celebrating our 45th birthday this year, at a time when women business owners were not counted in the U.S. Census. They weren't able to get their own bank loan without a male cosigner. So the organization has been influential from 1975 on in really advocating for women business owners in particular. So today we do the same. We have over 50 chapters across the United States. We say that we do the 4 C's of entrepreneurial women, which is access to capital, focusing on that, the biggest issue of women business owners, and providing community for them to come together and share resources, learn from each other, mentor each other. Capital with an O for our advocacy efforts and working with our legislators, and confidence and support, which is more about the education that we provide and the network of women behind them to really make them feel like they can do anything that their heart desires.
I love it. And I want to focus on capital with an O. Can you walk me through some of the concerns that small business owners that are women have that you're communicating back to some of those lawmakers so that they can implement changes or support them with new relief packages?
Yeah, absolutely. And that has directly to do with capital with an A. We've been working with a number of legislators as it relates to the PPP, the Payroll Protection Plan, as well as the EIDL, the emergency disaster loans for our business owners to get the capital they need to really sustain during this time to keep their people employed. We're also, worrying about how the PPP can give forgiveness and what that's going to look like, how we can create more opportunity within the EIDL. So there's a number of things right now that we're working on as we hear from our women business owners. What they're actually needing is to figure out how they can sustain for the long run here. They had to close down, they reopened, they have to close down again. And what is it that our legislators can really do in terms of even actually hearing from them what their struggles are so that they know what the best legislative options are for them to be considering.
And when it comes to women small business owners, a lot of the things you mentioned, I assume, also apply to men small business owners. What are some challenges that they uniquely face that you're advocating for?
Yeah, so access to capital for women is it's a bigger issue because women are naturally risk averse. And so a lot of times they don't want to take on huge chunks of debt to make their business grow. They've done it kind of by bootstrapping, by utilizing credit cards, by using personal funding and that sort of thing. So they don't obviously have relationships with bankers when something like this comes up for them to be able to say, yeah, I need a line of credit or I need a loan. There's not really any backing there. So that causes huge strain on them. Additionally, we all know women play a lot of different roles within their homes and their businesses. And balancing all of that during this time has been really, really hard for our women business owners, figuring out how to do caretaking when they can't see their parents that are perhaps in a facility because of the crisis that we're having with the illness. We are, worrying about moms staying at home with their kids and figuring out how they're going to educate them. Can they go back and run their business in the same way? Do these moms have to drop out of the workforce that perhaps our business owners were employing? So there's a lot of different things that our business owners are considering right now. And obviously the biggest one is keeping their doors open. And do they keep their doors open, and can they, and how long can they? So listening to all of those things, making sure we're communicating all of that back.
And as you mentioned, women play so many different roles, both in the household, but of course in small businesses. What tools or technology is available to them or that you're seeing them leverage that can help them take on so many tasks at once?
So I love the technology question. First, with our organization, technology was one of the first things we did in terms of figuring out how can we reach the most people during this time. So of course, Facebook was really amazing tool for us to be able to connect our women business owners, for them to chat with one another, for them to be able to use that platform to showcase their products and services, for them to work with one another in perhaps unlikely partnerships to come together to really showcase the businesses that they were working on and growing. The Zoom technology has actually been really, really amazing too, even in weekly virtual meetings and office hours where our business owners are, just saying from like 9 to 10, I'm going to be here, but on Zoom, you can pop in if you have any questions to kind of help with their workflow efficiencies. Of course, the Slack and Trellos are great tools for them to kind of help in this virtual space to keep things organized for project management, to kind of help with the crazy flow of emails that are coming in. If there's one place where all ideas and thoughts can be stored so that it's not like consuming our inboxes. Web presence also, our business owners have had to kind of redefine what they're doing and what that looks like. And a lot of that meant having to rethink how they were selling and pitching. So utilizing Facebook for ads, their digital e-commerce space. Also, like perhaps they had a storefront, but they didn't have any of their items online. And what does that look like to be able to use technology to put all of the stuff that they have to offer in an online platform where people can purchase from them directly. So the technology's been amazing. And in a lot of the reports that we're seeing, the small business report that Facebook did shows that women are actually utilizing them a lot. And it's really, really helping them in terms of the sustainability and growth.
In terms of managing all this new technology, transitioning their businesses, doing all of this stuff, I would say women sound like there's a great burden on them. And I imagine that there could be some mental, maybe physical health issues that come as a result of all of this work. What are you seeing in terms of your community? Are they experiencing that? And if so, what are you doing to help?
Yeah, so I would say that the Zoom burnout we hear quite frequently now, that there's so much education, there's so much, communication via webcam and all of that, that they're feeling the fatigue, the Zoom fatigue, the online fatigue. The connectivity, though, I think, so there's one thing to be able to watch a webinar, but there's another to be able to pull a community together. And so we've been doing a lot of that where we just have, an hour a week where our business owners can pop on and just talk to each other about the struggles they're having with their mental well-being, encouraging, online exercising, encouraging meditation, encouraging really managing their stress. Because if they don't have grace with themselves, it's going to be really hard for them to translate that into grace with their employees. And so we're just really trying to figure out how to create the best balance for each individual. We're in a marathon here. This is not a sprint. So we need to make sure that we're pacing ourselves and that we're not getting burnt out. So we, it's like we're continuously communicating with our members, just have grace with yourself and be where you are. And today may be really hard, but tomorrow's the day that you can focus and work really hard, or maybe not, maybe it's the day after, but just to really know that we're in this for the long term, that our business owners need to be resilient and creative and figure out new ways. And that may come at different times, and just to be patient with that. Also the boundaries of time, making sure that they're aware that we could be working all day long. I mean, I know personally for me, I can turn my computer on at 6 a.m. and not turn it off until 10. So just really managing their time and making sure that they have time for their family and their outlets.
Yeah, I definitely hear you when you say taking things day by day makes a huge difference. I think we all sort of feel that way. What unique role do women play in elevating the small business community? And what are you seeing that they're doing to give back to their communities?
Yeah, so women are connectors, just in nature. So for our NAWBO chapters, for example, coming together and working with each other, they're great viral communicators. So I know this business owner down the street that does XYZ that can help you. Putting people together in their communities is a huge resource. Employing the members of the community, right? Like what you put in comes out. And so making sure that the economy is viable by just employing the population there of the local communities. They support the nonprofits that are local. They support the youth school, the school programs, the soccer programs, things like that really keep the economy vibrant, as well as just making sure that their voice is heard, coming together locally to say, hey, this is what's working for us, or this is what's not working for us. And we need to have something change here for us to keep the economy viable. So,
Jen, one thing that's interesting about your association is that you're virtual, and you've always been virtual. You are in California, but you've got some of your colleagues in Washington, D.C. and in other places. What advice would you give to some of these women small business owners that now have to move their workforces virtually?
Yeah, I would say one thing that's really worked for me is just to really understand each one of my team members and what they need in their life and what is going to be able to produce the most productivity from them. And sometimes that means knowing that their schedule is going to be a little bit inflexible when they've got 3 young kids and they're working from home and they're trying to figure out how the heck they're going to do this. We connect weekly virtually. It helps for us to see each other, for us to talk with each other. We try to, share inspiration with one another so that, we can keep each other really positive and motivated. And we create a really safe space for our team so that everybody feels like they can share what's bothering them, that they can get the feedback and the support that they need to actually do their job well. So I would just say, know your team, all of them, be really connected to who they are and what they need to perform for you. And the more you give to them, the more they're going to give back to you. And I know that for NAWBO, that's been just really insurmountable.
It's super inspiring. And I couldn't agree more about creating a safe space. It's one of the things I'm loving right now about Axios. And I'm sure it's one of the mantras that I think the small business owners that you represent really appreciate you talking about. Jen, Earle, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Sarah. Happy to be here.
And up next, we have a quick video from our partner, Facebook. We're now joined by Sameka Jenkins, the owner of Carolima's Lowcountry Cuisine. Sameka, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So you are in a tough spot. You own an events business, which is a really difficult kind of business to be working in a virtual world. I mean, you obviously are trying to pivot things online. What have been some of the biggest challenges for you in migrating that business in a virtual pandemic world?
Oh, I think the biggest challenge has been people really love getting together. So it's been difficult to transition to getting people to social distance and do things in smaller gatherings. We're used to doing things on a large scale, wedding receptions, birthday parties, that sort of thing. But our customers and our followers have been great in helping us to pivot the business to online and to using our drop off service and things like that. So it's been a blessing in disguise.
What does that drop off service look like?
So we can prepare food for 2 people or 100 people. And so you contact us and we have some set menus that we can share with you, or we can customize a menu, and we can provide anything from hors d'oeuvres to full 4, 5, 6 course meals. We prepare the food in our kitchen and then we drop it off to you, being safe, of course, masks, gloves, all that good stuff.
And when it comes to getting in touch with customers, how are you letting them know that this service exists? Are you putting messages out online? Are you buying ads? Like, how are you getting the word out?
Oh, yeah, definitely using social media, Facebook, Instagram. And we actually started doing live videos with the start of the pandemic, my sister and I. And since we started doing the live videos, we've actually brought people into our home virtually, and we've taught them how to prepare certain dishes that are, I guess, known to this area. And once we started doing that and just really engaging with our customers, we really got the word out about how we could help them to prepare meals outside of what we were teaching them to do already.
And are you in touch with other small business owners in the community? Do you feel as though they've been able to pivot virtually as well as you have?
I think everyone's pivoted in their own way. For us, we don't have a food truck. So for us, the videos were very helpful. Social media was very helpful. But for someone who has a food truck, they did something different than what would obviously work for us. So I think it just depends on the type of business you have, and you have to know and understand your followers. I think at this time, people want to see that transparency. People want you to share. People want to be a part of your lives, and they just want to know that, we're all in this together.
We spoke earlier today with a bunch of female business owners, and they were saying that females are uniquely positioned for taking advantage of different tools, but they also face disadvantages. What do you think, as a female business owner, your experience has been like?
As far as disadvantages, we haven't had a lot of disadvantages being a female. I think that in the food business, I think it is a male dominated field. So you have to make your presence known. You have to be better than a male chef because people are not necessarily expecting you to be great. But I think it works to our advantage, being the way we're built, in that we're automatically nurturers. We're automatically able to identify people's needs just as a female. And so I think those traits work to our advantage more so than being a man.
When it comes to running a small business, obviously there's been so many different loan packages, PPP loans, things that have been available to you. Are you hearing in the small business community that people are taking advantage of that type of thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If it weren't for those programs, a lot of businesses would be out of business by now. So I'm very grateful. Our business, for one, took advantage of the EIDL loan. And that's been instrumental in helping us to take our business online, being able to provide additional products and services to our clients, as well as doing some marketing. And we wouldn't have been able to do that without the EIDL. So I think it's important, though, that when you do utilize these resources, that you're being smart about it. It's just not a free-for-all, but you need to be very strategic in how you use those funds to keep your business afloat, because we don't know how long this is going to last.
That's right. And while I still have you, you've made a lot of changes. You were saying you've brought your business online in so many new ways. What do you think is going to stay and stick as a result of this pandemic in terms of your digital transformation?
Oh, wow. I think online is where it's at, because we have all of our products available there. People can order them. You can get them in a timely fashion. It's safe. You don't have to worry about, catching the virus, ordering something online, not like coming into a storefront or anything like that. If you look at some of our orders, they come in at various times of night, 12 a.m., 1 a.m. Like, people are just up and about at different times. And, as long as you have that online presence and you have the products available, people know that you're there. And I'm telling everyone, just start where you are. Don't feel like you have to have the perfect website. Don't feel like you have to have the perfect video. Like, just bring your customers in, let them know you need them, let them know how important you are to them, and that you are a small business and you want to stay here, and they will invest in you. People believe in communities.
Totally invest in your community and it will invest in you back. Sameka Jenkins, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Of course. And thank you all to joining us for another virtual conversation that's made everyone smarter, faster. If you like this conversation, we urge you to sign up to get more Axios content. Sign up for our newsletters at signup.axios.com. We've also launched 2 new podcasts, Axios Today and Axios Recap. You can find them on anywhere you get your podcasts. Thank you again to our partner, Facebook, for making today's event happen. And join us next week for our final event in this series. Have a great week.